Hello everyone, this is Colin once again. I'm making this video because I've been requested by a friend of mine named Cash Wilson to create a video that are basically my thoughts on atheism. So as you can tell from the title, these are going to be my personal thoughts on atheism and atheists. As I'm sure you've all noticed if you've been watching my videos for some time, I've never made a video directly talking about atheism as a subject. I've responded, of course, to a couple of videos by a user here on YouTube named the Atheist Priest. But it had nothing to do with him being an atheist. It was the fact that he was making videos analyzing Islam, and I made response videos to many of his, about 5 of his videos, I think. Beyond that, though, I've never really engaged with someone who is an atheist. Or talked about atheism, and in this video I will explain why that is. My personal knowledge and study of atheism is pretty much how I treat any philosophical or religious topic, or any topic for that matter that I study. I look at it from a fair and balanced perspective. I will read authors that are atheists or are of that group. And I will also look at apologetic works on the subject as well as criticisms. And back when I was studying various different religions throughout high school and even after high school, atheism was something very early on that I was exposed to. And I had never really known an atheist that was outspoken. Most of my friends are skeptics. In other words, they are either agnostic or atheist. And I think that's helped me to have a more understanding, a more meaningful understanding of their position, which I'm thankful for. One of my oldest friends, since I've known since middle school, is an atheist, and I believe at that time he was an atheist. And even though he is an atheist, he's not outspoken about it. I didn't really meet an outspoken atheist until my sophomore year of high school, when I met the person who has become my best friend. And he is someone who is an atheist, and he's very, at least outspoken about his views. But he's also unique, at least from, I think, some people's cliche understandings of atheists, in that he is respectful of an understanding of other people's views. In other words, myself being a Muslim, he has no problem being my friend. He's actually very understanding of Islam and likes studying pretty much anything but religions in general. So I could say that from my own personal perspective, my exposure to atheists and atheism are rather positive on a personal level. This is why I know that atheists like Sam Harris and Christopher Hitchens are not the majority of atheists. I've never met an atheist in person that embodies the style or attitude that Christopher Hitchens or Sam Harris have. Now, I've read The End of Faith by Sam Harris. I've read God Is Not Great by Christopher Hitchens, and I've read parts of The God Delusion by Richard Dawkins. I have to say, out of all 3 of these atheists, famous atheist authors, Dawkins is probably the one that I wouldn't mind shaking his hand. His style isn't as rude, in my opinion, as Hitchens and Harris. He tends to view the subject on a more academic level, and for that I respect him. I would disagree with his views that religion, raising children as in a religious tradition, is child abuse. I would disagree with him on that. I don't believe religious people are crazy. There's actually a great refutation in his book called The Reason for God that just came out in paperback not too long ago. Forget the author's name, but it's an excellent book on direct refutation in his book, The God Delusion. One thing I do with a lot of these atheists, and this is my view of these big-time atheists nowadays, is I don't really like their style, and the reason for this is because I feel that they're trying to bite off more than they can chew. I believe that one of the major flaws I see in a lot of atheist argumentation is that they try and take on all religions. They try and paint this huge picture that all religions are inherently evil or bring issues to mankind, that if mankind were to just sort of let go of that last step in our psyche of having a God be the dictator of our minds, of our conscious and unconscious life, that we would meet a society, we would be better off. I think the reason why this is a fallacy in a lot of their argumentations is that most atheists in the world today are from a monotheistic, primarily Christian background. In other words, the majority of atheists, from my understanding and from what I've read, used to be Christians, Jews, or Muslims. The majority of atheists, I would argue, were more of a Christian, from a more Christian background. Maybe secondary to that would be of a Jewish background. So, to me, that's an instantaneous thing that needs to be focused on. One reason why I think there's a flaw in books by Christopher Hitchens and Sam Harris in their books is because they try and, like I said, bite off more than they can chew. They think that since they have tackled, in their opinion, the flaw of what they might view the flaw of Christian theology, they think that therefore they can adopt the same tactics to Islam and Judaism. You can perfectly see this in Christopher Hitchens' book, God is Not Great. The first chapter I read was his chapter on Islam. And the way Sam Harris, the way Hitchens argued against Islam was very much, he just said, well, it's a repackaged form of Christianity and Judaism, and just sort of washed his hands of it without giving it a serious thought. Harris, on the other hand, focused more on extremists and radicals, and not really the religion itself. In a debate that I saw with Sam Harris and the Muslim author Reza Aslan, I would say that if anyone were to watch that, it was on C-SPAN. If anybody were to watch that debate, I think it's no question who won that, and I would say that it was not Sam Harris. Another thing I'd like to point out as well is, this is why I have great respect for one atheist author I read. The book is called Atheism and the Case Against God by George Smith. And in this book, Mr. Smith is very honest. He says, listen, I used to be a Christian, therefore I'm going to be arguing against Christianity. It's what I know best. I enjoyed that sort of honesty. I think that Smith is, and his book was, I think, published back in 1970. His breed of atheism, in my opinion, is slowly deteriorating. Where you have atheists that, one, are not malicious, and two, are willing to admit that they don't know a damn thing about most religions except for the ones they used to belong to. And I think that this is one, like I said, one of the most fatal flaws of many atheists that I've seen that are at least huge figures, either on the internet or published authors. You have to understand, like I said in the very beginning, my personal relationship with atheists and agnostics has been very positive. They might have certain overgeneralized views or statements, but they are not malicious, and they tend to be a lot more respectful and understanding of where they're coming from and where other people are coming from. So again, I'm not trying to overgeneralize atheists, and I'm not trying to put atheists in two different camps, because I know that not every single person in every group is going to be identical. You're going to have the atheist or the skeptic that's going to be completely rude, and then you're going to have the skeptic that's a very nice person, and even those polar opposites are an overgeneralization, and I admit it. So the reason why I don't debate atheists, or don't engage many atheists in this question of, well, I'm a theist, obviously, and why don't I debate people who are atheists on the question of, is there a God, is because having a best friend since I've known since sophomore year of high school, we've talked about everything. And to me, the subject, for me, doesn't really go anywhere. I find it interesting. Like, I wouldn't mind having just a casual conversation with an atheist, but a formal debate or something isn't something I'm interested in. This is how I would come to a formal debate about atheism or theism. I'd say, okay, I believe in God, you don't. And that would be it. A casual conversation, sure, but an extensive debate, no. I'm not interested in it. I think that the atheist has made up his mind, the theist has made up his mind, and it could just go on and on and on. But for those people who are interested in the subject, power to you. I'm not actually saying that's not relevant. I think it very much is, especially since atheists, for the first time in a long time, are now getting a new voice in the general public, which I think is great for them. And I think that this ongoing discussion of science, religion, Darwin, evolution, belief in God, disbelief in God, I think these are healthy conversations that everyone, or people who are interested in it, should take part in, and shouldn't be afraid to discuss. I don't think anyone's belief or disbelief is weak enough to not engage in these sort of talks, whether on a formal debate level or on a more just sort of kick back, have a soda in your hand, bowl of chips, sort of, you know, sitting in a couple of comfy chairs talking about it. So yeah, I have to say that I'm being a theist myself. I don't really have anything against atheists or atheism. I know this video isn't, you know, might surprise some of my usual viewers because I'm not like trying to refute atheism. Again, I'm not really interested in that. But yeah, in a nutshell, I really, again, I value the friends that I have that are skeptics. They're great people, so I like to dedicate this video to all of them, and I really just don't have an issue with it. I personally, of course, don't agree with the position because I believe in God, but I don't think that atheists are horrible people or that atheism is some horrible menace that needs to be wiped out. I think that both religion and science, religion and reason can coexist, and that healthy dialogue can be a factor that can be a huge part of our human society. Of course, are there people that are going to totally disagree with me? Of course, and you're welcome to it. But those are my views on the subject. I'd like to end this video on a totally unrelated note. Recently I had an individual, a hater, who sent me two very long PMs, essay-length PMs, that one was a critique of one of my videos and another one was a criticism of my personal conversion story on my blog. I made two videos dealing with both of his PMs, and they ended up being extremely long videos. We're talking, one was like 17 minutes, the other one was almost a half an hour. Instead of posting them on YouTube, I posted both video responses on my blog. So I'll have a link to my blog in the description section of this video. So if you find yourself bored or in need of listening to me for a half an hour, feel free to tune in to those two videos on my blog. So for those of you who thought I wasn't doing anything at all this entire time, since the Rex versus James video, I have been doing other things, but they've been not on YouTube. But this is the newest video here on YouTube, so you're up to speed now. Unless you decide to go to my blog, then you'll be really up to speed. So yeah, this is my video. Sorry if this wasn't as enticing or exciting as my other videos. Again, this is just sort of my general view of atheism. I'm more than willing to discuss this topic further in the comments section, you know, as long as the comments are respectful and engaging. Yeah, those are my thoughts on atheism. So thank you, Cash Wilson, for recommending I make this video. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be with you all.